With the Los Angeles Times, I'm Lindsay Theory. This is Gary Klein. We're at USC training camp, day 3. If you didn't know better, you'd say we might be some Bruin tackling dummies out here. We might be dummies, but we're not Bruins. Gary, USC, the roster's been inundated with freshmen. It's a different sight than what we've seen in the last few years. Obviously, it's a full class and then some. What do you think of these freshmen?
Well, so far you can see as Steve Sarkisian has talked about, you can see the quality of depth, at least in terms of the size and speed of the new players. Some of these defensive linemen are, really, really big. Christian Rector, Jacob Daniel, and the like. I think through 3 days, we don't know anything, but we did see him for the first day in shells, and so there was contact, and I think you started to see a little bit of separation going forward.
One of the big questions going into training camp is how the defensive line will make up for the loss of Leonard Williams, obviously now in the NFL. There's been some shuffling. There's a couple of new bodies. Jordan Simmons has transitioned to the defensive line, and it looks like they're kind of starting to get their groove together.
Yeah, I think more than anything, that position group, because they were a little bit undermanned, they're just thankful that they can look to their right or their left and there's someone else to take the next rep. But just, from our vantage point where we're able to watch practice and meeting with these players as they come off the field, it's a big group. They have a big athletic group to work with here. And obviously they're hoping that increased depth is going to help them in the fourth quarter and avoid some of the mishaps that happened in late games last year.
And there's also increased depth at tailback. Trey Madden was sidelined last season. He's back taking reps. Justin Davis is back in the mix, a little bit banged up right now, but there's also 3 freshmen who are getting into the rotation.
Right. Trey Madden was out there for spring practice, but really didn't do anything real substantial coming back from that foot injury. But today and the day before, he was the guy. He was getting all of the first team reps, and he looked good. He looked sound, and I think he's looking forward to showing people the back that we saw a few years ago when he was the starter and started off so well. You mentioned the freshman running backs. Who's kind of stood out for you?
Well, they all are kind of new faces. I'm still checking down at the roster to see who's who, just because we're not used to seeing so many new guys in that rotation.
Yeah, Ronald Jones, I think, Dominic Davis, Cedric Ware. They've all, shown some flashes that make you go, okay. And as they get into full pads in a couple days and they start getting into scrimmage situations, I think we'll have a better idea of who may be able to contribute immediately.
Let's not jump to any early conclusions. There's 25 practices between the start of training camp and kickoff against Arkansas State on September 5th. Hopefully, Gary and I figured out a little bit more before then. All right, with it, Gary Klein, I'm Lindsay Theory. We'll be right back here on Howard Jones Field tomorrow for more on the Trojans.